What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about Thanos returning in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4. Now, this is a spoiler for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. We're going to be talking a little bit about the ending. We talked about it also in yesterday's video, so you guys haven't watched that, make sure you please do so. But I'm going to be going over it one more time and kind of talking about where I think this franchise, the next game in the franchise, is going to go. So, at the end of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and again, I talked about this in yesterday's video, Thanos basically gets destroyed. He sacrifices himself and takes the pain away from his son, right, by like squeezing the Infinity Gauntlet, and those two disappear. They kind of become one with the universe, but they're dead, right? They're completely gone, and the Infinity Stones are left. And the Avengers take those stones and they spread them out across the entire galaxy to keep them safe, right? And they even say in the scene that somebody will probably bring these back together at some point. But another important thing to notice is that Gamora talks about in that same scene that Thanos will return, that he can, if anybody's going to find their way back from the dead, it's going to be Thanos. So they do have to keep a lookout for Thanos returning. Now, firstly, I feel like this is a slam dunk thing to bring him back. I don't think you say a line like that if you don't expect that. I mean, you don't kind of tease/threaten us, right, that Thanos, if anybody can come back, it would be Thanos. You don't really say that without Thanos, eventually coming back. Another thing is we just got done, obviously, with the Infinity Saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? In terms of the movies, Thanos was a huge part of Endgame and Infinity War, and he's kind of what they led all the way up to, right? Now, one could argue that if these games are trying to be like progressive and trying to get ahead of the movies, now up until this point, they're technically behind, right? This game had a lot of similarities with the Infinity War kind of thing, but it didn't go full force, right? It didn't technically get all the way to Infinity War or even Endgame. So if they want to still play catch up, you would bring Thanos back, right, to continue what Infinity War and Endgame were. Kind of have their own story. Obviously, you're not going to be retelling the movies, but to kind of do their own thing, you could do that. If you want to play devil's advocate here, if they wanted to go a different path, they could pick a different villain, in the future that would come from these kind of conflicts or come after these kind of conflicts. That would be possible. However, they could kind of do both because, again, if you guys watched The Secret Ending, or if you guys have seen that scene, if you guys watched what I talked about in yesterday's video, you see the two eyes appear like in the cosmos, and a lot of people are debating if that's Oblivion, if that's the Beyonders, if that's Eternity. And I kind of settled on Eternity. I think his connection with Thanos is the main reason. The fact that he could very, very well be the person or the entity himself to bring Thanos back. And that can just go along with the comic series, but that could be something very, very clever. It honestly could. It's a way, firstly, to introduce a villain that a lot of people, I think any of these people, Beyonders, Oblivion, Eternity, even Infinity, any of these people, they haven't really been fleshed out. And maybe they will. Maybe eventually, or Galactus even, maybe these characters eventually make it into the movies and we get to see, what they're like, and then more people know about them. I think Thanos was kind of that person that people knew about the most, right? Even before he got introduced in the movies, or people knew, as soon as they said, we're setting this up, Thanos is coming, I think people got very, very excited because a lot of people already knew who Thanos was. I think these people are a little bit more abstract. But the point is, you get to introduce these characters. You can introduce a character like Eternity and get us used to him because he can connect to the Eternals if you want to bring the Eternals into the game. That maybe would get people ready for the movie would already be out at this point, right? But that would connect there, so it would be a really nice tie-in. And also, you have the opportunity to again bring Thanos back. There's all these different comic lines that exist of the not just the Infinity Wars saga, but there's so many. There's the Secret Wars. There's a lot of different things that they've done in the comics. A lot of stories they've told, and Thanos is a part of more than just one. He's not just a part of this Infinity Saga where he gets all the stones, right? He's done more. He's had connections to Deadpool. There's a lot there. So what I'm basically talking about too is that they could do more with his character in the game. Beyond that as well, we have not gotten a game since 2009. This is the first game in 10 years in Ultimate Alliance, and yeah, does it make a lot of sense that we finally got to see Thanos, and Thanos was basically the main villain? Yeah, One game, though, is one game really enough? And the way he went out and the way that he's not even the final boss battle, he's the second to final boss battle, I don't personally feel... I love this game. I really actually think that they did a fantastic job with this game. Are there a lot of problems with it? Yes, but it's kind of like a guilty pleasure game, to be honest. They did a lot of things right. They did a lot of things wrong. One of the things I do think they did wrong is they didn't give us enough of Thanos. I felt like he really could have been used more. And I feel like there's definitely more story to be told. The tricky thing is, and I 100% again believe the next game, they'll introduce the new villain. If it's Eternity, it's Eternity. If it's somebody else, they will bring Thanos back, and he will continue to play a part in this game. The biggest question is, when will this next game release? Because, and I want to talk about this, I think, in a future video. They can't do another 10 years, okay? These games have to come out faster than 10 years. I know this game is selling really well, but we'll talk about that in a different video. If you guys want me, if you want to say anything about that, leave in the comments below, and maybe I can include that in the next video. But I think without a doubt, Thanos is a character that you want to keep around. Yeah, the movies are going to be moving further and further away from Thanos, but the What If series, you could even argue that, summer of 2021, Thanos is going to be a character in that. So, it's animated. It's not actually going to be the Thanos we saw on screen, but it's the what if scenario changing things around. So Thanos, Josh Brolin's Thanos, is still going to be a part of the Marvel Universe even in a couple years from now. So he's still important. Obviously, he was important to these 22 films, even though he was only in like 2, 3 if you count some of the endings. He wasn't in a ton of them, but obviously, he's what they were building towards. And I just feel like the game, yeah, they could do different things. They could introduce these very abstract villains that not a lot of people know about and go from there. Or they could, again, like I said in the beginning, do both. You could introduce these new villains, get people kind of used to them. What do these villains look like in game form? You can introduce, again, you could introduce different heroes because of those villains. A lot of times the villains are connected to new groups of heroes that also are kind of abstract that we've never seen before. So you could do that, and then at the same time, you could bring Thanos back and have like a duo going there, or maybe even Thanos turns against them. A lot of times in the comics, you do have those kind of villains that turn against each other for one reason or the other. So they don't have to be friends, the two villains. They could then fight each other. Thanos kind of did that at the end of this game. He quote unquote like turned good for like 10 seconds. So, something like that I feel like could definitely happen, but I don't think we're done with Thanos. I think Thanos will 100% be back in the next game. It's just when the next game comes out, that's the tricky part, but we'll talk about that in the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave in the comments below anything you want to say about this topic. Do you think Thanos will be back in the future game? What do you think the next game will be about? When do you think it's going to be out? All those things. And make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. We're giving away Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 completely for free on the Nintendo Switch on our channel. So make sure you guys go check out that video, or if you know somebody who wants the game that can't afford it or just doesn't have it, link them to that video. Let them know we're doing a giveaway for it. So I greatly appreciate the support. I hope to see you guys in the next video.